that thing over my head. Oh, yeah. Whoa. That's wonderful. So this is new to you?
This is new to me. I had it, I had it on Father's Day.
Yeah, I saw it here.
Yeah, about a month. I ordered it from
Peace is now. La paix ici maintenant.
שלום עכשיו.
Kapayapaan ay ngayon.ขอให้มีแต่ความสงบสุขMost van a béke.
Frieden ist jetzt.
和平在現在。
Pokój teraz tutaj.
السلام اللحظة.
A paz é agora.
Barış şimdi. Bây giờ hòa bình.
Sol al-an.
La pace è adesso.
Peace is now.
Okay, well, good morning. Oh, I can hear myself. Yeah, that's probably more of me than I need. Yeah, yeah. Thanks. Sorry, wrong order.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I am Tom Merrill, grateful member of this community. This is a perfect time to greet your neighbors. Good morning. Good morning. Please take this as a time to turn off your cell phones or other devices, put them on airplane mode, and knowing that these devices that connect us with the outside world just get in the way of our natural spiritual connections between each other and the rest of the universe. Welcome now to the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. We honor you wherever you are on your spiritual path, and know that there is something here for you this morning in the music and in the words shared. As the welcome person, welcome man this morning, I have the great honor to be the first formal person from the podium to welcome our new future minister, Reverend Mary. And there was something you said either last week or it might have been the week before. I was going through last week's video and not quite finding it. But there was something that inspired me to bring to the circle, to this meeting, this gathering this morning, is the talk about the sense of the energy that we create connects with others and it builds. It's the sense of the wave, I think. And it brought to me the idea that it is for our own self-interest, personal self-interest, to have more people here, and encouraging us all to look to see who might want to be a part of this, to be part of this energy, because as we double the number of people that are here, we quadruple or more the energy that is created. That said, off my soapbox, we are, once this wakes up again, we'll be going on to the chant led by our great music director, Bodie, with the words behind me, and spiritual mind treatment is with Michael, Practitioner Michael Hart. Where is she?
I am as God created me.
one life, one grace, one love, one joy. A wholeness that is fully present in each one of its parts. A wholeness that knows nothing but its own nature, which is a pattern of perfection that allows only order, that turns all things into order, that returns all appearances to the knowing of order. For it can be nothing but what it is. It can express nothing but what it is. And all that there is an expression of that one power, that one joy, coming into life, becoming form as itself through all of creation. There is nothing outside of that one life. It is the system of systems, the universe of universes, the everlasting arms stretched to include all and everything and everyone. And because it is all-inclusive, I am a part of it. I am made out of that very pattern of perfection. I am made by that wholeness. And as I know this for myself, so I know it for each one within the sound of my voice. One wholeness expressing uniquely as individualizations, but never divided. One wholeness, returning all things, anything that may appear out of order, to that order that we call love. No power greater than the all-powerful. No place where it is not available. And so I know for each one within the sound of my voice, a shift in consciousness that enables each one of us to know that wholeness, to abide in it, to surrender into it, to realize it, to make it real in our lives in such a way that there simply is no possibility of expressing anything less than, anything other than that wholeness, so that where there appears discord or inharmony, where there appears lack or loss, obstruction or illness, those are simply appearances on their way to healing into wholeness. And the very knowing of their wholeness allows that to happen. And so I claim and declare and proclaim for each one a knowing and embodying, a laying down with wholeness that is so complete, there simply is not the possibility of experiencing or giving back into the world, expressing anything other than that knowing of good, underneath, around, through, weaving and reweaving all of creation into its own harmony, joy, freedom, power, love, wholeness in every realm. And I celebrate this. I give thanks for that in each one that is willing to be willing to see life anew, to know its foundational core of perfection, to allow that to express through them and in their own lives. And I release this, my word, to that law that is always actively saying yes to the reweaving of that wholeness throughout creation. And so it does now with a resounding yes. I simply let it be, and so it is. Amen.
The love of God is love in me, and resting in the love of God, I know that all is well. The breath of God is breathing me, and resting
Yes, good morning. I thought since the theme of today was about healing, that the drum beat would be a good way to feel that in our bodies, because we are all drums. We have a skeleton. We have a skin. And we have a voice. Right? So feel the drumbeat of your own body and let the waves awaken the healing energy in your own body. This is a call and response. Earth is our mother. Earth is our mother. Earth is our mother. How can we heal her? How can we heal her? Healing is now. Earth is our mother. How can we love her? How can we love her? Healing is now. Earth is our mother. Healing is now. Earth is our mother. Healing is now. Earth is our mother. How can we love her? How can we love her? Healing is now. Earth is our mother. How can we love her? How can we love her? Healing is now. Earth is our mother. Healing is now. Earth is our mother. Healing is now. Breath is the life force. Wind it is breathing me. Wind it is breathing me. I am, I am. Breath is the life force. Wind it is breathing me. Wind it is breathing me. I am, I am. Breath is the life force. Wind it is breathing me. Wind it is breathing me. I am, I am. Enanawea, 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 enanawe. Enanawea, 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 enanawe. Enanawea, 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 enanawe. Enanawea, 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 enanawe. Enanawea, enanawe. Enanawea, enanawea, ho. Enanawea, 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 enanawe. Enanawea, 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 enanawe. Enanawea, enanawe. Enanawea, enanawe. Enanawea, enanawe. Enanawea, enanawea, ho!
Thank you, Bodhi. Good morning, bless you. That was good timing. Good morning, everyone. Those of you that are here all the time know that the people coming to the front are part of our membership team. And they're here especially to welcome people who are guests this morning who are here for the first time, because they have a little bit of information in the packet for you, and they would like to give those to you. So along with that gift, there's a blue card in the envelope. If you fill that out and take it back and just turn it into them at the membership table, you can also ask any questions you like of them. You will get a free gift, which is this little booklet called What Religious Science Teaches, and it puts our spiritual philosophy into easy to follow information. That's kind of fun to read. So if you would be willing, just give us a wave so we can give you the packet. That's the only thing. If you're here for the first time, or if you haven't been here in a while, be brave. It's okay. All right. Okay. Good. Thank you very much. Thank you for that. And we'd love to let you know that wherever you are on your pathway of faith, we welcome you and we're delighted that you're with us. We hope that you'll come back, that you'll share us with your friends, and that we'll see lots of you in the future. So we are, this month, well, this whole year, Centers for Spiritual Living, of which we are a part, is celebrating the 100th year anniversary of when our founder, Ernest Holmes, had his first book published. And so this philosophy has been living out there in this particular manifestation in the world, because it's not brand new, it's ancient wisdom. But for the last 100 years in the United States, where Ernest Holmes was born. And in the month of July, we're in a new theme now that the centers are sharing, which is revealing wholeness. Revealing wholeness. So you can see in this picture, this is all the reflection of all of this. Or maybe the other way around, who knows? Revealing, there's always more to be revealed. And so this morning, I'm speaking of healing as the revealing of wholeness. Let's start this way. Revealing. Two priests went to Hawaii on vacation and decided that they would make this a real vacation by not wearing anything that would identify them as clergy. So when the plane landed, they headed for a local store and bought some really outrageous shorts, Hawaiian shirts, sandals, and sunglasses, and they were ready to enjoy their incognito identities as just a couple of regular guys. The next morning, they went to the beach, dressed in their tourist garb, and they were sitting on beach chairs, enjoying a drink in the sunshine and scenery, and a pretty woman in a bikini came walking down the beach toward them. They tried not to stare. They weren't used to seeing people in bikinis, but as she passed them, she turned toward them and smiled and said, "Good morning, Father. Good morning, Father." Nodding to them both, addressing each of them individually, and then she walked on. And they were stunned. How in the world did she know that they were priests? So the next day they went back to the store and bought some even more colorful clothing. These were so loud you could hear them coming. And they had just settled into their beach chairs to enjoy the sunshine when the same pretty woman wearing a different bikini came walking toward them again. And she approached them and greeted them individually again. "Good morning, Father. Good morning, Father." Well, one of the priests just couldn't stand it, and he said to her, "Just a minute, ma'am. We are both priests, it's true, but how in the world did you spot us?" She said, "Oh, Father, don't you recognize me? I'm Sister Catherine." There's always more to be revealed. There's always more to be revealed than we know so far of who we are, of what we're becoming, of what we could be. So what in us is it that actually wants changing, growth, healing, evolution? Because we know as human beings, we're not always welcoming of change. Anybody feel like that? Like sometimes, it's okay the way it is, don't shake me up too much, you know? Or yes, change, but take your time. Or like the little kid who said, "God, please make me good, but not yet." So we as human beings sometimes are resistant to what we don't know, what we're not familiar with, because we have been disappointed or hurt before. And we don't want a negative surprise. Reverend Sarah always says in her prayers that we just let go and look forward to wonderful reports and delightful surprises Those are the type we'd like to get. But sometimes change comes to us in other forms, and the human part of us resists that because we have things in hierarchies about what's good and what's not good, and what's pleasant and what isn't pleasant, and so on. You with me here so far? But there is something within us. Ernest Holmes, our founder, calls it that eternal thing which sings and sings. There is something inside of us that hungers for the development, for the growth, for the evolution, for the discovery, for the revelation. That's the soul, the spirit, the essence within us. And that part of us will lean on us and push us to try and make us move forward into the greater yet to be. Have you experienced this, where you feel pushed or pulled into the next thing at all? I'm speaking the same language as you, right? Okay. Yes or no? Yes? Okay, good. Okay, good. We're on the same page here. So there is some part of us that doesn't necessarily welcome the change, but that inner thing is always reaching for it, always going for it. And Ernest Holmes tells us this in Anatomy of Healing Prayer: there's no such thing as a part of God. In all indivisible unity, all of everything is present everywhere all the time. Now, if that means that all of God is where we are, which omnipresent seems to me that's what it means, that all of God is present everywhere, including here and there, all of God. We can't comprehend all of God, and I don't think we need to. Reverend Dr. Kathy Ann Lewis says that everything you need to know is available to you, but it is on a need-to-know basis. Nobody needs to know everything all the time, or any time, really. So there is always more for us to become and to discover and to express and to grow into. So Ernest Holmes, in his textbook, The Science of Mind, says, a realization of the presence of God. A realization of the presence of God is the most powerful healing agency known to the mind of man. And then he says, also in The Science of Mind later on, healing is not creating a perfect idea or a perfect body. It is a revealing an idea which is already perfect. Healing is not a process, it is a revelation. Through the thought of the practitioner to the thought of the client. Practitioners, for those who aren't familiar with that term, are our trained professional prayer givers and teachers. And so he says, in 10 Ideas That Make a Difference, this is Ernest Holmes again, we should leave ourselves open to accept any form of healing, whether it be from medicine, surgery, psychiatry, diet, or exercise, if we desire it. Some people feel they should believe in only one form of healing. However, properly understood, all are one, stemming from God. Every new discovery in medicine is just as much a revelation of God for that purpose as is a new invention, a new interpretation of life, or the answer to a prayer. So what Ernest Holmes is reminding us of is that when we move for pain to be relieved sometimes, we do it because we're uncomfortable, we want to move toward what makes us feel better. And sometimes we think we need to do that in a particularly spiritual way, forgetting that if God is all there isn't a non-spiritual way of doing it. So sometimes the pain we experience actually, rather than being, well, it can be one of two things in my mind. Either pain can be letting us know that something is wrong. It needs adjusting, it needs releasing, it needs changing, it needs addressing somehow. And sometimes pain is the pain of a healing in progress. So sometimes when we're breaking through into a greater part of ourselves, there is discomfort, there may be fear, there may be a whole myriad of emotions and thoughts and experiences. Does this make sense? But it is the breaking open of the shell, of the seed. You know, someone wise once said, the heart of the cherry must burst open or the seed of the cherry must burst open for its heart to stand in the sun. I love that. I don't think I have the quote quite right, but you get the idea. So in A Course in Miracles, at the very beginning of A Course in Miracles, the first page of it says, nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Nothing real can be threatened. And by real, my understanding of that is meaning enduring, eternal, essential, the center, the whole, the place of the source, of the emanation. And so when we think about this perception of wholeness, Ernest Holmes said this wonderful thing that I find so interesting and challenging in a way. He says, I know there is a technique for spiritual mind treatment. That's what we call prayer. I know there is a technique for spiritual mind treatment which can be taught. I also know that there is something vital to a treatment which cannot be taught. My identification with the center and source of my being, which is pure spirit. This I must find for myself through continuous awareness of the presence that surrounds and indwells me. And then he says, a perception of wholeness is the consciousness of healing. A perception of wholeness is the consciousness of healing. The perception of wholeness meaning that when we look at a situation or a person or a thing and it seems chaotic or out of order to us, that the perception of wholeness refocuses the lens from what is nearest to what is behind what is nearest. It refocuses our lens to the essence instead of the appearance. Does this make sense? And so a perception of wholeness means that we see the appearance and we choose to mentally and spiritually and emotionally see the spiritual wholeness that is hidden in the appearance. And I love that. When I was a ministerial student up in Seattle, the dean of the School of Ministry was Reverend Dr. Glenn Wood. And this was the way that he described this, which I love. When you believe more in what you don't see than what you do see you won't see, and what you don't see you will see. You see? So I'll say it one more time. When you believe more in what you don't see than what you do see you won't see. And what you don't see, you will see. You see? That was his whole thing. And I really love that because it encapsulates an understanding that wholeness is present even when it's in hiding. And so the challenge to us then becomes seeing the invisible wholeness. Like, where is it? In The Little Prince, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, by the way, it's Canada Day, he says in The Little Prince, it is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. What is essential is invisible to the eye. And so what we want to do then, in the presence of disorder, because you know, even if you take a computer and you program it to plot chaos in 3 dimensions, so it looks like random dots in 3 dimensions that just start showing up. But when you let the computer continue to generate this random chaotic pattern, it creates a beautiful, balanced image in 3 dimensions. So if you looked at it from any particular point of view, it might not look like this whole thing. But with perspective, you can see it. And so when we're immersed in chaos in our lives, we may be in the midst of a divine right order, but we can't see it from that place. And we can get so aware of the conditions and circumstances and appearances that we totally forget that there is a bigger perspective, a bigger picture to the thing. So to see the invisible wholeness, and I love this little guy, these two together are seeing deeply into one another, I think. His mother took this picture, by the way. I would say first we have to remember, have we known this situation, this person, this thing, in a state of wholeness, happiness, light before? Then let's remember that when we think of this situation, rather than getting lost in the present. We need to, if we can't remember one, then stretch and imagine one. Imagine a situation where this person is happy and fulfilled. Imagine a situation where there's abundance. Imagine a situation where love and kindness are being expressed rather than something else. Imagine it in that situation, in that person, in that thing. To look deeper. Look deeper. And make it up if you have to. Look that deep that you could do that, so that you can catch the fire from heaven. That's the rest of the quote of Ernest Holmes. Catch the fire from heaven. At the last part of that quote, he says, if we are to become whole, it must be through the perception of wholeness. The mold which we create with the intellect is necessary, but the realization, that which catches fire from heaven, must be like heaven. The realization of the truth, the place where we have moved ourselves into the deeper awareness of wholeness, that is catching the fire from heaven. He does say that sometimes when you do prayer work, it doesn't happen that way. You know, you don't feel inspired, but that's not a reason to not do it, even though the best is when you get the fire from heaven. So that's seeing the invisible wholeness. Catching the fire from heaven may be the way that memory, imagination, and looking deeper ignite together. The other wonderful thing is that our healing consciousness isn't fooled. And it doesn't matter if it's someone else's consciousness for us, our consciousness for ourselves, our loved ones. George Eliot, who was actually a female British writer whose name was Marianne Evans, said, "A friend is one to whom one may pour out the contents of one's heart, chaff and grain together, knowing that gentle hands will take it and sift it, keep what is worth keeping, and with a breath of kindness, blow the rest away." And a friend of mine, Alan Cohen, wrote, "Those who love you are not fooled by mistakes you've made or dark images you hold about yourself. They remember your beauty when you feel ugly, your wholeness when you are broken, your innocence when you feel guilty, and your purpose when you are confused." Healing consciousness is not fooled by the appearances. The wholeness that is knows itself in us, in our situations, in our conditions. It is not fooled by the appearance of what we're temporarily experiencing. Does this make sense? And so when we come into that place of the presence of God, knowing its wholeness everywhere, in everything that we look upon, with that intention, I know there is wholeness there, or I'm imagining there's wholeness there, or I'm doing my best to hope there's wholeness there. In each of those instances, we're trying to move ourselves deeper in our perception, in our place. Now, last night, after I found this quote from Alan Cohen, I was thinking about when I was first in religious science, when I first came into this teaching in 1979. And before I had taken any classes, there were 3 books that I was reading that I was astonished that these books had even been around, because they so reflected what I was learning at the church and what I had experienced in this particular personal growth training I did. One was Illusions, The Adventures of a Reluctant Messiah by Richard Bach. The second one was my favorite book of Ernest Holmes, This Thing Called You, this thin little volume that's so life-affirming and easy and simple to read and understand, and Alan Cohen's book, Rising in Love. So I decided last night that I wanted to complete the talk by sharing a story with you from Rising in Love. Now, before I go further with this, I want to direct your attention to Laurel Wilson's altar this morning. The circles represent the movement, the experience, the expression of wholeness, everything moving into various forms and changes in wholeness. The flowers that are here now, they won't stay fresh. Their form will change, but their essence, whatever it was, wherever it's released, their essence is something different. And then she has the butterflies that are the experience and the expression of transformation, and I'll tell you why that's significant. So last night, I was trying to find this story, knowing that my book was packed somewhere and I didn't have access to it. And so I went online looking for it, but the problem was I couldn't remember the name of it. It's kind of a prodigal son story. You know, the prodigal son asked for his inheritance early. He goes off and, as it says in Godspell, because it's based on the book of Matthew, he spends it all in riotous living. You know, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, wine, women, and song, however you want to put it. And then eventually he is repentant when everything's gone and he sees how shallow it all was. He comes home. His brother's not thrilled to see him, but his father welcomes him. Okay, so Alan Cohen has a story in Rising in Love that's kind of a prodigal son type story, and I wanted to share it with you, and I couldn't find it online. Finally, I found Rising in Love. You know how on Amazon sometimes you can go in and look inside a book? And so I looked through the table of contents and I recognized the name of it. It's called The Butterfly. And of the 3 pages in this little book that tell the story, on Amazon I could see the first 2. But not the 3rd one. So I searched and I searched and I searched online, and now I knew the name and the author, and I looked, and it was nowhere to be found. It was now 9 o'clock at night. I was getting a little video that you're going to see from Reverend Barbara at 9 to put into the slideshow, and I could not find this story. And I was about to give up and look for something else when I realized Alan and I are friends on Facebook. We haven't seen each other in decades, but we're friends. And so I sent him a message on Facebook. Now, he lives in Hawaii where it was 6 o'clock, not 9 o'clock. And I said, I can't find my book. I want to tell this story. I've only got the first 2 pages. Would you be willing to send me page 39? And Alan sent back right away, and he sent me the PDF of the whole book. Just like that. God bless him. And so, all of this was a miracle. The altar came together. Laurel and I didn't talk about it. This story is called The Butterfly. The innocent children discovered the killer sleeping in the hayloft. He had fled from the city where his crime was committed and taken refuge in the deserted barn. The children did not know of his misdeed. Who do you think he is? The little girl asked her brother. I don't know. Who do you think he looks like? Well, he has long hair and a beard. And he's about as old as Daddy. He has sandals on. Maybe he's Jesus. Do you think he could be? Well, that's what the Sunday school teacher said Jesus looked like. Yes, I'll bet it is him. Oh, aren't we lucky to have Jesus, gentle Jesus, come to our very own town? The killer, awakened by the exclamation, sat up startled. He was about to flee when he heard the little girl calling. Jesus, gentle Jesus, will you stay and play with us for a little while? We will take care of you, promised the little boy. Yes, echoed his sister. We'll bring you food and blankets, and we won't tell anyone you're here. Oh, please, gentle Jesus, won't you stay with us? Well, the killer began to understand what was happening. He thought it over. Seemed like a safe bet for a while at least. Yes, he would stay. Over the next days and weeks, the children brought him food and clothing and even wine for him to bless. And with these things, they brought their innocent love and their adoration for the sweet and kind Savior. The killer felt safe with them, and the weeks turned into months. The children came to him every day and asked him to tell them parables and to bless them and their families. And so he did. As the summer went on, he actually began to enjoy playing the role of the man of peace. It was, of course, only an act, but there was something that felt good about it, something that he had not felt in many years, perhaps since he was a child, and his grandmother would tell him stories of Jesus and the children. As the man basked in the warm love of these children, he learned to love them too. He began to look forward to the times when they would come, when he would tell them parables about the wonders of heaven's kingdom and the importance of loving our neighbors. One day, he even found himself telling a parable no one had ever heard. And this made the children so happy to hear a parable directly from their gentle Jesus, one that was not even in the Bible. The man's feelings about people, about the world, about life, began to soften, and he became gentle and kind. He read the Bible when he was alone, and something happened to him, something like a long locked door opening to admit morning sunlight. One evening, he came upon the story of the prodigal son, and he began to weep. Yes, this is the truth, he thought to himself. In that moment, he realized ever so clearly that it was he who was the prodigal son, and that he had sinned against man and against God. And he knew, too, that his soul could not be cleansed until he had made restitution for his crime. So he decided to return to the city and confess. The next time his beloved children came, he took them in his arms and drew them close to his breast. "My dear ones," he quietly began, "it is now time for me to leave you." "But where are you going?" the little ones asked, with tears streaming down their soft cheeks. He gathered both of them closer to him and embraced them even more strongly. "I must return to my father," he explained, fighting back his own tears. "Then we'll go with you," they pleaded. "No, where I'm going you cannot come. But we want to know the Father too." "My dear ones, you already do know the Father. Did you not feel the peace in the long walks that we took through the meadow? And did we not laugh with one another as we watched the little colts struggling to stand on their new legs? And do you remember how we slept under the stars and awoke to the gentle cooing of the doves? If you know me, and if you have loved all that we have done together, you already know the Father. Then will you give us something to remember you by, gentle Jesus? I leave you with the gentleness that you have given me. This is my peace that I give to you." And the son arose and went to his father. The wonderful thing about wholeness is that the consciousness of wholeness is ever newly prepared to welcome our recognition of wholeness. It never tires, it never wears out, it never rejects us or moves away from us. It reveals itself in our essential being. So healing may look like physical healing. It may look like emotional or spiritual or financial healing. One thing is certain, it doesn't always look to us the way that we expected it to look, or maybe sometimes the way we thought it should or wanted it to look. But remember, those who love you are not fooled by mistakes that you have made. That consciousness of wholeness and healing is yours. It's already in you and in me. It's part of our essence, and we cannot lose it. We just have to practice it, remember it, imagine it, and catch the fire from heaven. Namaste. Let's now move into the inner work and take this in. Now I invite you to imagine someone or some circumstance in your own life that feels distressing or chaotic or out of order. It could be large or small, any one. It can be for yourself. And let's know that God is not at all confused by this, not at all stymied or worried, not feeling inadequate or concerned. Divine Presence knows the healing that's really needed, no matter what it looks like. Divine Presence knows us so well because it is us. It knows exactly what's needed in each place, in each circumstance, in each heart. So we extend our knowing of wholeness to all of those hearts out there today, in every form, deserving and undeserving, aware or veiled, well-informed or uneducated. All are this heartbeat, this song, this rhythm. And in this moment, just because we know that it's so, all are blessed. All are blessed. And so it is. Yes.
Good morning. My name is Gail Durkin. I'm a practitioner of this community. And if you would find your gifts wherever they're hiding in your purse or in your pocket or your pledge card, and just hold it for a moment. I wanted to read something for you this morning. This is from Richard Living by Ernest Holmes and Raymond Charles Barker on October 28th. This is just an excerpt of, I am now open, receptive, and obedient to all that God has prepared for me. As we think and link our minds with the one mind of the universe, we start into action of liberating a process which delivers us into greater good than we have ever conceived of as possible. Unexpected good appears, greater love flows through us, and the world becomes a vital, creative place once again. So if the ushers would come forward. And as we celebrate and give to this beloved community, let's sing together and give our offerings. Let's say this gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time. And so it is. Thank you.
For being here with us this morning and making this morning what it has been. And I want to thank Gail for her offering process. I want to thank Michael Hart, our practitioner, for praying for us this morning, and Laurel Wilson for this beautiful altar. Bodie for the music. Jim Homa, I got it today, for creating everything in wonder, even with me dashing in at the last minute and having a last minute request. Thank you, Ron and Tom and Ceci, who are over here on all the AV, our wonderful practitioners over here. And today I'm even going to remember the ushers and those who are here for the kids. And I don't know if there was somebody here today for the kids, but we're grateful that you were here with your little one as it was either way. So thank you, everybody. Also, this is Partnership Sunday, and Reverend Dr. Barbara Leger was going to be here with us this morning, but her dog is sick. And the dog is at home with her, and the dog is too sick to leave alone and too sick to put in the car and bring over here. So last night at 9 o'clock, she was recording this little video for the announcements this morning, and I was trying to figure out how to get it into the PowerPoint. And so here it is.
Hey, Golden Gate. Here we are on Zoom.
We turn the lights down a little bit right now.
This is such a wonderful and easy way to connect. I can imagine people from Ukraine sending the message next month. So thanks for Reverend Mary for helping me make this possible today so I could be with you, even though I can't physically be there because little Elsa Joy has an intestinal issue and a long ride just would not work very well, so I can't be there today. But I'll be there in the next couple of weeks. I just want to say good morning, and I love being part of this community, and I love where we're going. And, you know, everybody seems to be pulling together, and I loved Reverend Mary's vision of when you walk in, you feel that energy of this one place that's connected and cares, and we are part of that one place. This one place of ours includes the Russian-speaking world of Ukraine. And the Ukrainian-speaking world, too. So, you know, just know how much we feel connected and how grateful we are for your support. Read the bulletin. It's all about our conference this year, our 17th annual anniversary, the first week in October. We have a brand new format. It's the least expensive it's ever been to come to Ukraine. So if you ever thought of coming, I'd say this is probably a really good year to do that. We have a new format. The title is Activating Possibility. It's an art and a science. And we're going to explore that. We're going to be in Kiev the first 2 days doing training with Jim and Dorianne Lockhart. And the theme is spiral dynamics and then emotional intelligence. And then off to the retreat center near Cherkasy, near our headquarters. And we'll spend the next 5-6 days in the forest on the banks of the Dnieper River in a beautiful site. Bodhi can tell you all about it. And we're doing a 2-day silent retreat. And then we're doing a 2.5-day conference to practice integrating all that we've been exposed to during this so that we can activate greater possibilities in our own life. So there's lots of ways you can be involved. You can come, first of all. Ask Jet, she loved it. And ask Rick, he loved it. So you can come. And if you can't, you can volunteer. There's a lot of things that I could use some help with. You could donate an item to the auction, or you could come to the benefit event right here in Reading on Saturday, August 25th at my son's beautiful 6-acre yard and home and pool and barbecue party. And in the evening, we're having a concert with Gary Lynn Floyd, who's an incredible musician. So it's a great way to benefit. This is our biggest marketing event of the year, and we could use some real support and energy from our partners here at Golden Gate. That's it. I love you guys. You all know how to find me, bap3@sonic.net. And I'll see you soon. But if you're thinking about coming or thinking about being involved in one way or another, give me a call. All right? Thank you. Have a blessed day. And thank you. And I'll see you soon. Namaste. До свидания. Пока-пока. До встречи. Bye.
All right. Oops. Yeah. You probably know that Reverend Dr. Barbara is the minister in Cherkasy, Ukraine. She's lives in California most of the time and does everything online now. So she'll be with us in a few weeks. For those of you that were not here last week and did not know, our beloved practitioner, Janet Carol Ryan, is in hospice care now. And she's not receiving visitors or calls or even cards because it takes a lot of energy and effort to handle all that stuff. But what you definitely can do is put a message on Caring Bridge for her, and her angel team will share with her when she wants to hear those. They read some of them to her, and you can see each other's. So the information is up there, and that's how you can leave something for Janet. But apply what we talked about this morning when you think of her. You see Janet in that strong, beautiful beingness that she is, because that's really the truth of her, even in the midst of this process of exiting the body temple. So we love her, and we know that's the truth. And now I want to bring Pat Sandry, who is the president of our Leadership Council, up here for the next announcement. Let's see here. I'll go over here.
I'd like to announce that at our town hall meeting last week, first of all, we voted for candidating versus direct select, and direct select won by a large majority. And then we voted as to whether we wanted Reverend Mary to be our senior minister. And she won with the most incredible vote, and she had the largest majority, almost unanimous.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
So thank you, Mary.
Thank you,
we'll
Pat.
be seeing lots more of you.
Yes, you will.
Yes.
Yes, you will. Thank you, everyone, very much. I'm really thrilled and honored and excited, and I'm delighted. So thank you very much. And speaking of thank you, I want to say to the men's group, spectacular brunch last Sunday. It was fabulous. And they raised $500 for the center in addition to feeding us so well. So that was lovely. And speaking of food, who out here loves food? Anyone? Yeah. Our snacks team, which is always here, is taking the summer off. So we really encourage you to consider bringing a snack on a Sunday, bringing it plated, ready to serve, ready to go, and we will not starve over the summer while our team is taking their break. So we'd love to have you help with that. If you are a Cancer, in terms of your birthday, the practitioners have a free gift for you, which is a free session with one of our practitioners. So if you are a member of the center and your birthday falls in this period, please pick up a form over at the table so you can sign up for your service. Women's Spirit Rising is coming up at Rivers Bend Retreat in September. Lori Greer's not here, I don't think, this morning. But there's info online so that you can register if you want to and haven't done it yet. Reverend Carol's workshops. There are 2 workshops that Reverend Carol is going to be doing in July before her official retirement and her party at the end of the month. And these are things that you guys requested: conscious endings and how to download a talk from Spirit. You can sign up for those at the education table. And as you know, there is going to be a Bon Voyage soiree for Reverend Carol on Saturday, July 21st here from 6 to 9 p.m. The money has been raised for it, but we need your RSVPs immediately, and you can give them to our darling Deborah over here, Deborah Welsh, because she's, or to Sue, right here, Sue Ruda. They're making sure they have all those, and it's going to be a wonderful party. You can just show up and come. However, there is one secret about the party, and that is there is a special gift for Reverend Carol. She doesn't know about this. She knows, well, she's not going to be paying attention. She's on her honeymoon in France. I very much doubt she's going to watch this, especially the announcements. Hi, Carol. Don't tell if you do know, because we want you to be surprised. So you can donate over there for that. Enough said. All right? So for our community blessing practitioners, would you just stand where you are? Our wonderful practitioners at the table here will pray with you after the service. If you would like a prayer, if you have something on your heart this morning, be sure and stop over there. And let's know right now that that perception of wholeness is alive in us, that it blesses everything we look upon today, and that as always in this entire process, Spirit guides our way. Thank you. Now I invite the rest of you to stand and join us for today's affirmation and our closing song. As we leave to enter into our day, let's affirm this together. I now walk so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God, and whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness. For Spirit and I and all people are one eternally, and so it is. Happy Independence Day.